Hello. We are going to read a story and make some connections, which we should be super duper good at these days because you are almost first graders and we've been working connections since probably August. And to remind you, making a connection means that you read something in a story and you think about something that has happened in your own life or something that you can do and you kind of connect to that story. So today's story is Miss Rumphius. And it is one of my favorites. I actually was given this story by my aunt. This is actually a new copy. My other copy is so old that I had to get a new one. I loved it so much. So enjoy Miss Rumphius. Put the computer so you can see the pictures. There we are. These pictures are gorgeous. The lupine lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grew blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The lupine lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know, she is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships, so he kind of made those little things that are on the front, and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great Aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city far away from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on the long beaches picking up beautiful shells, and one day she met the Bapa Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said, "to come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink her coconut water inside. And before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise in the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. My great Aunt Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I certainly have seen faraway places. Maybe it's time to find myself a place by the sea." And it was, and she did. I love this picture. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle in the water, and she saw it set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "There is still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." But what? The world is already pretty nice, she thought, looking out over the ocean. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. Lupines, said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. I have always loved lupines the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could still have more flowers next year. But she was not able to. After a hard winter, spring came, and Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been in a long time. I don't believe my eyes, she cried when she got to the top. And from there, on the other side of the hill, was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupines. It was the wind, she said as she knelt in delight. It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped. Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs and sent off for the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupine seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seed, wandered across fields and headlands sowing lupines. She's planting them. Probably hard for you to see. There's kind of seeds coming out of her hand. She scattered seeds along the highways, down the country lanes. She flung handfuls around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her any more at all. Now, some people called her that crazy old lady. But the next spring, there were lupines everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay along the schoolhouse. In the back of the church, down in the hollows and along the stone walls, grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third most difficult thing of all. It's her on the bike. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white, and every year there are more and more lupines. Now they call her the Lupine Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupines. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that, I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. But I do not know yet what that can be. Alrighty, so in your page you actually have a picture and there's a little lupine there. You can even color that later if you'd like. And it says, after reading Miss Rumphius, you can make a connection. How will you make the world a more beautiful place? So what you would do, I'm going to write here so you won't be able to see for a second. I will the world more beautiful. Now that's a hard word. By, and I'll hold it up. And if you'd like, because we want a complete sentence since we are almost first graders, we're not going to just write one word. So you're not just going to write plant flowers because that's not a sentence. You're going to write, I will make the world more beautiful by, then you can write planting flowers. Or maybe painting a fence that's all kind of, yucky and peeling. Maybe you can make the world beautiful by drawing beautiful chalk art for people to see on the sidewalk. So when I hold this up, you might want to pause it so that you can copy it. And then, okay, so if you didn't pause, you can always rewind and pause that so you can copy the words. Then you can finish the sentence, I will make the world more beautiful by. Now, I am not going to finish my sentence because Mrs. Schmidt and Mrs. Cattleman don't want you just writing what I wrote. So if I'm going to write, I will make the world more beautiful by, how about if I say painting a picture? We don't want to have all of our kindergartners write, I will make the world more beautiful by painting a picture, because we want you guys to think of your own things. You can even make the world more beautiful by saying prayers for your family every day, or by smiling at strangers, or you can make the world more beautiful by doing nice things. You don't even have to paint or plant. You can just do something and the world would be more beautiful. So good luck. We would love to see what you did. So if you want to send us a picture of your paper of how you would make the world more beautiful, we would love to see it. Good luck and happy writing.